Tender the Flesh is a story about a world where all animals are contaminated by a virus that's fatal to humans. So, people can't come near animals, they can't have them as pets, and most importantly, they cannot eat their meat. And what do they do to make up for that? Have they all gone vegan? Have they found a better way to make plant-based meat? No. They decided to start eating what they call special meat. And what is that, you might ask? Well, it's humans. They start creating humans as cattle, separating them from society at birth, never teaching them how to speak. In fact, they remove their vocal cords so they can scream, not teaching them any language whatsoever, and not teaching them anything else. These people, which are called heads or product, are unpracticed just like any other cattle. This society made an effort for the rest of the population to stop seeing them as people, but instead as animals, as meat. It is very much against the law to treat the heads as anything but animals. If you do have one in your house, which you can do, there are domesticated people. You should treat them as if you would treat a cow, tying them outside and feeding them in a bowl. But just like animals in the real world, there are also laws protecting the product. Everyone that owns a domesticated head gets checked by the surveillance periodically to make sure they're healthy and not being mistreated by animal standards, that is. And if you want to kill them for their meat, you need to hire someone that's certified to do that. You can't make them work, or else that would be slave labor. And one of the most important rules, you can't breed with them, and if you do, the penalty is death, as the act is considered one of the worst transgressions you can commit. Anyway, the book follows a man called Marquez Tejo, who works at a slaughterhouse. He's quite important in that field, being considered the right hand of his boss. He's well respected and even admired by most of his colleagues, as he treats everyone nicely and is a very professional man. And although Marquez is very successful in his line of work, he absolutely despises it. He cannot comprehend how society treats these people as anything but human, how they were so quick to dehumanize them just so that they could eat some meat. He's disgusted by it. So you might be asking, if he hates it so much, why does he work there? And the reason is, it pays really well, and it's the only way he can pay for his father's nursing home. In this world, nursing homes are a delicate topic. The cheaper ones are less secure and cannot guarantee that your loved one won't become meat after they pass away. It's illegal, yes, but it still happens. There is a very active black market that sells meat at a lower price tag. You see, special meat is extremely expensive, and most people cannot afford it. So this is how the less fortunate acquire their product. So Marquez, obviously not wanting this fate for his dear father, pays for the best and most expensive nursing home there is. His sister refuses to help, so he has to afford all the expenses on his own. And also, he has a family to provide for, or at least he did. At the start of the story, Marquez is living alone. His wife moved to her mother's house after they lost their son, a baby that was seemingly healthy and happy, that one day just suddenly died in his sleep. Neither of the parents took it well, obviously, but they are dealing with their grief in very different ways. Marquez is suppressing his pain, trying to keep his life going, while his wife, Cecilia, has completely crumbled. She doesn't even allow Marquez to visit her, so they spend months without seeing each other. And as much as he understands what she's going through, he's becoming increasingly frustrated by their lack of contact. The plot kicks in when one of his colleagues gifts him a head, an alive female head. And not only that, it's an FGP, that meaning first generation pure. These are the most prestigious products, as they are from the start of the transition, before they started pumping the heads with hormones so that they would grow faster. And what is the transition, you might ask? You see, this whole system is actually quite recent. When Marquez was born, the world was actually still normal. People didn't eat human meat yet. So the transition is when everything happened. When the animals got sick and the government started introducing the idea of special meat to the public. It was a gradual process where people would be able to dehumanize the heads to the point that they wouldn't feel uncomfortable eating them. But with a lot of propaganda, society eventually got there. Anyway, so now Marquez has this female head in his house, which he didn't want, but it was a gift and he wasn't able to refuse. And the story goes from there. If you're thinking about the terrible things that can happen in this situation, you're probably on the right track about what this book has in store for you. I gave Tender is the Flesh 3 stars. I did very much enjoy the read. The premise is very interesting and it was executed very well. The world building was amazingly done. It would have been very easy for the author to just write a book about people killing each other for meat and the world is just pure chaos. And it would actually be a scarier book. And I also think it would be a worse one. And that's the thing, I've heard some people say that this is a very scary book, but honestly, I don't see it. I wasn't creeped out reading this, I wasn't shaking and scared. What I was disgusted. At several times, this book made me feel uncomfortable and disturbed. And I think that was the original intent. In my opinion, because the world is so fleshed out and things are often explained with thorough detail, there wasn't much space for me to feel scared. I was often curious to know how things worked and then grossed out when I got the answers. And I'm not really a horror reader, so it's not like I'm desensitized. I just don't think the horror element comes from sheer fear, but from the deeply disturbing topics at hand. If you're wondering if you should read this book, the question you should be asking is not how well you can handle being scared, but instead how strong your stomach is. I read a negative review that said that your enjoyment of this book will fully depend on how much you believe the concept. If it's feasible for you that something like this could possibly happen. And for this reviewer, it wasn't. For me, however, it's not that hard to buy that things could come to that under the right circumstances. Probably in a less over-the-top way, of course. There are some things here that are added for the shock value. Like for example, there are hunting areas where some of the heads are chosen to roam freely so that people can hunt them for sport. That I don't really buy. But anyway, it's a book. A horror book at that. I think it has the right to be a little fanciful. Another aspect I liked was the protagonist. And it's not like he has this amazing, engaging personality, he's very unique. He's actually quite boring. But for this book, I think it's a good thing. The setting is already so outrageous that having a character that's just a regular guy reacting to all this craziness serves the story really well. But not only that, in the beginning, I really liked him as a person until I didn't. I feel like the author did a great job in making me care about Marcus and see him like as a good man. And then when he starts doing very questionable things, I felt really conflicted. But yeah, by the end of the book, it's impossible for you to still like him, let me tell you that. So I've been talking about all these things that I like about the book, so why did I only give it 3 stars? Let's get to the parts that I didn't appreciate that much. There are 2 main reasons. One of them is one particular scene by the end of the book. Trigger warning for animal cruelty. In this scene, a group of teenagers brutally murder puppies. It's even cartoony to talk about it. And it's over nothing. It doesn't add anything to the story. It was added only and purely for the shock value, which I find very lazy and in poor taste, honestly. And not only they kill the puppies, they're spilling out exposition while they do it. And the thing is, it's not even new exposition, we've already heard about everything they're talking about. So what's even the point? In general, I already think it's very hard for you to pull off a scene with puppy killing, and this one definitely didn't deliver. Second reason is the ending. And I didn't hate it, there are aspects of it that I actually enjoyed, but I was kind of disappointed. Because throughout the whole book, my biggest question was, what are the consequences that Marcus is going to face because of the actions he's taking? I really wanted to see what would happen to him. And that question is mostly what kept me reading. But then the book just ends before there is any consequences. And it left me underwhelmed. And I don't think it was an oversight, I do believe it was deliberate, which I do appreciate. But still, I felt disappointed. Would I recommend this book? Yes. Read the trigger warning, see it's something you can digest, and if it is, I would recommend you to read it. It is a good book. It is very engaging and difficult to put down after you started it. I advise you to skip the puppy scene though, you won't miss anything by not reading it. So yeah, this is a new video format I'm testing where I show you a speed drawing while I talk to you about the book. My inspiration for this was those TikToks where there's a Subway Surfers clip playing along another video. So yeah, I hope it worked. This is the finished drawing. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and tell me if there is any book you want me to talk about. And yeah, thank you for watching!